You know, if everybody's sticking together for a Luna Snow, right? It's sort of when you have a triple strategist comp alongside with Envy, it's sort of like, you know, out sustain versus just overwhelming damage. And Team Kiri, you know, get that team up alongside the Psylocke and the Emma, alongside the Hulk and the Namor. Also, Pinnacle, it looks like playing this Hulk super well, right? Coming back to Peel for Window on his dives. Window forced to swap over to Groot. So Envy's now forced to slow down their composition. And this actually might enable Kiri, who have ultimates in this next fight.
And here we go again as Kaluj now is starting to press forward. 29 on 30% there for the side of Team Kiri. Alts get popped like crazy. Boundary goes out. Out goes that dance.
Sort of coming through and being so impactful. You also saw that commitment by Speedery on the backside of the point to deal with Yusher, right? That was a big play because Yusher has that snowflake, constantly healed from across the map alongside, you know, being committed on with the entire ultimate. Like Speedery trying to remove somebody out of team.
Start staggering and lose a ton of time. Time is everything, especially here in domination when the clock is essentially ticking in front of your eyes with this percentage. 64% now for the side of Envy, who are now ahead of Kiri, but that pick again for Chemicals off the rip on a month.
Yeah, I like that rotation, right? They came to the high ground. They destroyed the map. Unfortunately, they lose Yusher again. Oh, no. But, you know, this may set up potentially a good Hulk ultimate from Pinnacle. He's going to have to carry the fight, but everybody's in this strangling prison now. Walled off. Invisible Boundary keeps them alive, though, but that's exactly what Window wanted to do. However, they still commit in the sky. Speedery's ultimate. He's able to find Chemicals, who stayed on the height. Nero does go down, though. And with Pinnacle in this ultimate, he could go off. I mean, that's already one strat removed. However, you know, the benefit of having Nero wait straight up, has to use that Mantis ultimate, though. Nothing else committed. Chemicals also goes so low, but it's still barely alive. They still lose Cartier on the backside, though.
That's a huge early pick there from Speedery now, who's going to find Cartier like you had mentioned. We do have that strangling prison ready. It does get launched. Tap. Going to find Kinetic Flower. Kaluj on a Chemicals. Odds are heavily in their favor in this final fight now. Out goes the Invisible Boundary. Jeff going to find some. Do they pull through with it, though? Trying to match out and drop back together. Great play as Nero now finds Yusher even through that craziness. Good patience and understanding of playing as a team. Kaluj again on the Cartier Sky, who comes back.
It's very hard to take him out, to KO him, considering he's healed up so much from not only having that snowflake, but just constant hydration provided by the Jeff alongside Mantis right click. So there's so much value in keeping that Star-Lord alive, and you can see exactly why playing triple strategist it just pans out, right? You also kind of win in that ult game. You're constantly sort of just fighting, forcing out ultimates from Team Kiri, and you can kind of come back through with an extra strategist ult. But now into this next fight, next map, I think I would favor Team Kiri a little bit more here, considering they have so much damage alongside this Phoenix and that Namor. But right now in the ult game, I just love how Envy's playing it, right? Just constantly at the advantage, it feels like, at the end of fight.
Grants, I believe, walking forward, but it's not going to matter. Good idea for the spacing take, as they do have point now, and that's all that matters on this first fight.
Yeah, I want to see maybe this Ensong Inferno connect onto Month with that Mantis ultimate. But oh, nice pull on the backside from Cartier to force out that group. But regardless, so much pressure. Strangling Prison's here. Also, they find Kinetic Flowers.
Wow, that is a huge Strangling Prison. And Window does a great. There's a ton of those walls there, again, from Window. But they are making their way towards that point.
Yeah, right now with ultimates, I think we can maybe see them come in, but you talked about Window before on Groot. I think he's already 70% towards another one. I mean, this is tough. They just can't really deal with the pressure that everybody's providing right now in terms of strategists. But here, maybe with that dance floor, maybe with the whale, they can find a connection, and they do. Only one, however, on the backside.
Out we go again. Cartier Sky going to try to get Psionic. It does not land. Speedery again with a pick here on Kinetic. Tap. Finds Sector. Does take. Get KOs himself, unfortunately, too. There's another pick there from Nero. The team is up in numbers. Now Kaluj going to commit heavy with the Psionic. At this point, 92, 93%. This is a tough look for Kiri, who looked great on map 1, but they are falling now as Kaluj is going to clean up the rest of the team. And now we're in OT. The portal play comes in. They held until 97, so that does give them one more chance. But them being staggered on these KOs is a tough look. Can they get back through it and commit as a team?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to come through overtime. Boundary here. It's just unfortunate. The pace of play is so rough. I mean, once this Invisible Boundary goes out, you have Speedery ready to go. Get that damage boost. Galactic Legend in the sky.
And here it goes. Speedery going to look down towards the back line. Find a ton of damage, and the Strangling Prison does combine as Chemicals goes down. Speedery with one. Looking for a second. Very low. We go. The walls are out to try to guarantee that space take. Window on the Sector. Kaluj on a Kinetic. And that should be the end, the swan song here for game one, as Envy takes game one.
My goodness, Envy looking damn good, and I think they won basically in the draft phase. Warrior Falls, when they could play Psylocke, Team Kiri, it looked a lot better. I think that, you know, we did have event.
there. That is tough. Or excuse me, that wasn't Kinetic with the ult out there. Excuse me. Yusher onto Speeder. He finds one though, and they are taking back this presence as Kinetic now is keeping the team healthy, and they drive them back to the spawn door. Well done by Team Kiri. I did agree that I thought the portal was a little bit too safe, but it clearly worked out. Maybe you don't necessarily need to be as aggro with the portal as long as the point can walk back to your rough position of where you wanted it to be, right around that corner there. Tap now. Gonna play hyper aggro here with the Moon Knight, who now has 2 of those Crescent Blades, and we go with the Eternal Bond. Window gonna find Kinetic though. Tap on the Pinnacle Month onto Yusher, and they go right back at them angrily and take back this next fight heading towards point 1.
Yeah, that was the benefit from Team Kiri there in the last fight, is that they used that Cloak and Dagger Eternal Bond, and that was sort of what enabled. Yusher was sort of the sacrificial lamb. Envy collapsed on them eventually, making sure Kinetic couldn't build that up. It was so close. The reason why Kiri was winning these fights back to back to back to back is they had the Loki copy. They go back in with that Eternal Bond, but now in this upcoming fight, it's going to be even the Eternal Bond advantage, not really in anybody's favor, but you do have that Luna Snow sustain alongside incredible damage from both Chemicals and Yusher.
Yeah, and you see there, as we had discussed before, Window placing that healing wall and the entire team walking past it and grabbing that heal prior to this fight. Very smart and strong play. And, you know, you maybe mentioned how unlucky it was that Kinetic fell before using that ult on point 1, but I'm sure that was target priority there from Envy, and that's something that at this level of play is a huge aspect of the game, understanding where ults are and ensuring that you get to pick on a more valuable target that maybe has ult coming. Speedery gonna find Cartier Sky there again onto Yusher now, and we're gonna try to portal cancel here for the side of Kaluj, who is just going to lock them into that spawn door beautifully. For committing, 2 ults go out as Yusher and Sector launch ults, and we're going to have to see more from Kiri, who are losing this fight heavily up in ult, and that's tough as Kaluj finds Pinnacle. Do we see more? Ensong comes in from Chemicals, who finds Tap, and that's a nice trade as they needed something here. Kiri got to get on their toes. They're instead playing a little bit on their heels, getting driven back into the spawn door with almost 3 minutes on still for the side of Envy on this attack.
And this is what we saw in Burn into Chala, right? Even with ult advantage, they somehow get picked on. Month, though, going down is huge. Envy, Invisible Boundary was going to potentially help them out this fight, but Nero's coming up on the Eternal Bond, so this fight could get sustained. They're ready to keep fighting, right? You have fully charged Kalush. He comes back in with that sound juice because we have, you know, that Moon Knight. You would assume, okay, because we do so much damage, maybe they're not going to, you know, maybe we just pick them off early. But because Kiri built up some ultimates, built up some strat ults, specifically with Kinetic, and then eventually with Sector, they were able to stay alive. But after that, after maybe Windows stopped kind of going a little bit too far forward on Groot, considering you have Invisible Woman advantage because you can constantly stay alive, right? Slow it down, allow that Groot to get value, get work done. They just end up winning Shib, and right now, you know, you talked about Window in the last map being MVP. He sort of reined it in. Like I said, the only reason when Kiri were winning in those previous fights was because Window was just going down early. He was getting KO'd a bit too soon. Once Window stays alive, the damage kind of comes just naturally. And you could see most KOs in the lobby for a reason. I think this team is just playing so well around their Vanguard line in Window, and even come back and delay even longer if they want. But I think they're just going to wait for everybody to sort of scout. But regardless, like you said, Cartier finding some huge grabs. This could be that adjustment they need to play that solo Vanguard versus triple Vanguard defense. But we'll see how this happens now. This upcoming fight, ultimates are available. Envy also still has that damage boost potential to kind of go for eliminations in the fight. Both Eternal Bond and also Nero's Invisible Boundary will be up. But here comes Yusher early with that ultimate on the Punisher.
Final Judgment out. Crystals get popped, breaking everything. Still holding on. Good utilization and patience on the shield there. Nobody falling into the enemy line as Kaluj is going to try to find one right back at him. Kiri with a good idea there from Yusha, unfortunately did not pan out, but now Chemicals in great focus there from Month. A little bit of a damage nerf there onto Loki and healing, but still going to find that pick. Cartier Sky onto Kaluj, evens those numbers a little bit down, goes a Vanguard for the side of Envy. Kiri, remember, with one Vanguard on the team right now, tries to get a tag away from Cartier Sky, does not land. Meteor Ram again. Does this one land? Not much answer. It does, but still holding on tight. I thought that was going to be focused on the group, but no. Out we go with the combination. Shields out. Yusher with 3. Pinnacle going to fight to make that 4. And that's an attack you need to see from the side of Kiri, who looked really fluid with that combination.
Yeah, I wonder why Speedery used that Meteor M there, right? I think that there was, you force out a Shredder Assault, but, you know, if Kiri lives that Meteor M, they just come back through with that Punisher ultimate, and, you know, nothing you can do for President Punisher alongside back-to-back. Kalush comes to touch, but it's against so much damage. And you got that. Well, you don't have Portal because he used it earlier too. So and now we're going to second phase of the map. And that was actually almost as quick as Envy's first attack. Great work from Team Kiri, playing around the win conditions, which is that Punisher, alongside, unfortunately for Envy, not playing around the Meteor M, counter to that Punisher. Speedery playing a little bit more aggressive. But oh my god, what a pace of play change by Envy.
And Speedery gonna find Sector, Kaluj on a kinetic, and yeah, they are gonna maintain this pressure into the door. It is gonna be a tough push out. Will we see a change of composition to adjust? So they are gonna have two Vanguards now to the side of Kiri, as we had mentioned. Kaluj is still holding up here, and they're gonna keep the aggro. They don't want to stop this train right now, as we see Envy walking at them once more, and down goes Sector.
My god, I mean, before they even shredded his ult, I mean, there's been 2 fights in a row. They just they do like sort of if then this statements, right, where you have Speedery on the backside have to double dash out, knowing that they forced everybody from Team Kiri into that spot. They go aggressive, come back through, and now, you know, they're actually doing well with the ultimates. Now we come back through in the sky with Usher, also met with Eternal Bond, but can they find picks here from Kiri? They slow down Pinnacle with that friendly prison.
Yeah, a lot of commitment for the side of Kiri. They need to take this fight, and that's a huge set up that portal. We're going to see everything being launched now. Out we go with Speedery trying to find one with the dance of the Cutterfly, finds 2 now. Can they hold on point 2, or will Kiri step up? The portal comes through. Window gonna find Pinnacle. Speedery on a Cartier. That could do it here. The portal comes back through for the side of Kiri. They touch, but will it be enough as they start the final fight? Window gonna take out Chemicals.
It's rough. I mean, Kinetic was the only way they could win this fight. It's just going to be all Speedery in the kill feed, right? Just sort of back and forth. You have that Galactic Legend in the sky, but